The main plot for Until Dawn mixes the tones of horror movies like Scream, Saw, and The Thing, and begins with a group of friends pulling a prank on a young girl in a house in the mountains that goes horribly wrong and results with the young girl and her sister disappearing. We jump 1 year later, and the group of friends have all agreed to reunite at the house in the mountains on the 1 year anniversary of their friends' disappearance. However, once the gang is all together in the house, tensions begin to arise amongst the group, causing members of the group to venture off into their own activities. Once the group is finally divided, weird things begin to happen around each group, both within and outside the house and the forest, which may or may not involve a rumored killer being sighted in the area. And once you've reached the halfway point, a major plot twist is revealed, and the plot then switches tones from being a mystery slasher movie to a horror monster movie that heavily relies on the choices you make to decide the fate of these teenagers on whether or not they will survive the night. Now look, I'm going to come out and say it right here at the beginning and say that my biggest problem that I have with Until Dawn is the fact that it's horror. And I openly do not joy in horror-themed stories, whether it's within books, movies, and especially video games. And because of this, it made it nearly impossible for me to really get involved with the plot because it plays out very similar to standard slasher or monster movies of the past. Most of the cast is very stereotypical, and some cast members don't even get enough screen time, if they survive, to even be remotely interesting. However, one story element that I did find very intriguing was the introduction of a psychiatrist character, which did add a layer of breaking the fourth wall. Though this doesn't last the entire length of the game, which itself is quite short and can easily be completed within 6-7 hours. If you are a fan of horror-like stories, then you will certainly find a good amount of enjoyment playing as all the characters throughout their individual situations, but I doubt that you will encounter anything that you haven't seen before or will not be expecting. The gameplay to Until Dawn plays very similar to games like Heavy Rain or Beyond Two Souls, in which it focuses very heavily on exploration, quick-time events, and choices. Throughout the game's 10 chapters, you will take control of certain party members as they explore their environments. Throughout the exploration portion, you can pick up objects and interact with special key items that can give you clues or more information on your current environment and situation. While exploring your environment, you may also come across very helpful items known as totems, which depending on their themes will give you visions of the future events, which can do as much as show you how a specific character may die in a future event, to giving you helpful tips on which decisions you should make should you reach a specific moment in the story. The QuickTime events usually only take place when a cast member must perform a specific task that can result in consequences. These situations can range from something as simple as climbing up a wall to other sections that will have you running from danger, and making sure that you hit the right action at the right time is essential, as even the smallest mistake can change the current condition of the situation. In between some of these situations, Until Dawn really makes a great use of the PlayStation 4 DualShock 4 controller, requiring you not to move the controller at all, or else you'll be spotted. The final gameplay element are the choices, and it is really in these moments that it will have the greatest impact on the direction of the story. Every once in a while, your current character will be given a choice between two options, and depending on your choices, it can not only affect the actions of your current character, but may also affect the current status your character has with the other party members, which can affect really one of the game's more unique gameplay elements. Each character member has a certain gauge that not only measures the character's personality, but the relationship with the other party members. And depending on the current status of the relationship between the other party members can affect the choices that you will be given at a specific moment. The main flaw with this system, however, is that each character's gauge with the rest of the party can only affect one or two other members, because they do not share one-on-one time with all the members if they do survive. This means that even if you manage to keep everybody alive, your choices are limited because your current character can only affect the fates of specific party members, and in many cases, your choices, no matter how different, can sometimes have the same result, making the choice and the result itself completely irrelevant. The development team at Massive Games did a very good job in its production value and all the creative departments. The visuals are truly stunning with a great amount of detail within not only the environment, but amongst the detail given to the character models, making them look very realistic with their live cast members. The performances from all the cast members are spot on, but it's really nothing that you wouldn't expect from a horror-themed story like this. Each actor portrays their character differently with their unique personalities, and the visuals department does a really great job of enhancing each character's facial expressions, allowing you to get a great idea of how the character is feeling and thinking without them even saying a word. The soundtrack itself is very standard but very well placed for this game, with a calming orchestra playing throughout the exploration scenes and being able to quickly switch to an upbeat and suspenseful tone when the QuickTime events take place. However, despite these positive notes, I did happen to run into a few level design errors and invisible walls being placed in really odd places, and I really did not enjoy the somewhat locked camera, which did make it very difficult for me to truly explore every single inch of each level, which also made it somewhat difficult for me to even find all the totems, which, unless you already know where to look, can make it very easy for you to miss them. However, despite these small design flaws and my personal problems with the camera itself, it's not nearly enough to really hurt the overall experience of Until Dawn. Now, in conclusion, Until Dawn is without question not a bad game. It's a very well-made game that I think the game designing team really put a lot of serious effort into really creating a very unique experience for those who are story-driven gamers like me. The performances from all of the character actors I thought was really good. The visuals really take control and really use the power of the PlayStation 4 to its max to really give you a very visually stunning experience. The problem that I've had, as I said earlier, is that it's horror. I just don't do horror at all. I don't find horror enjoyable, entertaining, suspenseful, and when you can't really get me involved with either the characters or the situation, it just completely fails in my opinion. It's not a detective story like Heavy Rain, and it's not a character study like Beyond Two Souls. So for someone like me, Until Dawn was kind of doomed from the beginning, but I know for a fact that many people who do like horror will enjoy this game a lot more than I will, and I would say if you are a big fan of horror, then this is a game you absolutely should pick up. Would I pay $60 for it? Probably not. The game's length is a bit short. You can beat it in one playthrough, so I would wait till it drops to a sales price. So if I had to give Until Dawn a personal rating for myself, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10, just because I'm not a fan of horror, period. But I think that most people would give it either an 8.5 or a 9 if you are a fan of horror. So that is my personal review for Until Dawn, and if you like my review, free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe to check me my future videos. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next time.